All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, what comes now in the market? Are we done going down? Are we going to go up to pop or not to pop? That is the question. Our game plan in Forex. And we're going to continue a little more of discussion since you guys enjoyed it so much about psychological toxicity as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mark Melnick, host of the Newsbeat Live, senior trading strategist also at T3. We're going to be going over the market today and to pop or not to pop. And, I think it's, again, kind of hilarious to just see this huge pop in the market yet again. And, we're having really wide ranges. So I just want to talk about some of a simple strategy I did today, which actually worked. I was sitting on my hands the entire day after just throwing on a couple trades this morning, and I actually want to talk of them. And one of them worked out in the beginning, and then ended up not working, and another one of them took all day to work out, and then that one actually worked out a lot better. So let's just go right into the market, and then I'll go over my trades. To pop or not to pop, that is the question. I went ahead and I was talking about the Qs hitting the 200 moving average. If you remember the Newsbeat show from Monday night on March 26, we talked about breaking down further and then potentially hitting the 200 moving average. We didn't hit the 200 moving average. It's that, let me delete, that's that little purple line that you see right there that's slowly grinding up. And we just missed it. We missed it by a little over a point, about $1.10 approximately. And we ended up jumping up higher, and now we're gapped up after hours. And everything is looking good and crazy. Now, I want to talk to you about why options are so important in this, especially in this environment. Actually, the truth is options are important in all environments, and I think I'll get into a little bit of that later, but what's going to happen tomorrow? So I just want to explain what happened last time. We had a big green day and closed near the highs. When was the last time we had a big green day and closed near the highs? March 26th. Look what happened. We opened up $1.22 higher. We gapped up $1.22, and we tanked. The Qs literally dropped $8. We literally dropped $8 in the market. So it was a very major drop there. We did end up, flushing significantly lower. And, I think it was really options that really made my life easier in the market making money, because I came in this morning and I was even talking in the pre-market with the room and with you guys, and I was like, you know what? How about Citigroup, for example? What would be wrong with a Citigroup strangle? And the stock was around 67.5. The stock was around 67.5 this morning, and I bought $70 calls expiring this week, and I bought $65 puts expiring this week, 2.5 points out of the money in both directions, and the stock was at 67.5. And you probably were sitting there and thinking, why is Mark doing that? Why is Mark really, taking both directions? I just use simple logic, and this strategy is going to apply tomorrow, and I think I'm going to apply this one a little more often in this market environment. I mean, if you look at Citigroup in the past, I don't know, week and a half, check this out. You have a $2.50 range on Thursday, a little more, I'm estimating. You have a $3 range from last Friday. Last Tuesday, you had a $3 range. On Thursday, you had a $2.17 range. On Monday, earlier in the week, you had a $2.50 range. So if you're putting in $2.50 ranges, and you could buy, for example, a straddle. Basically, you're buying calls and puts. You don't care where Citigroup goes as long as it goes up big or down big. And the truth is, you're putting such little money at the table, you're not even going to lose a lot if you're wrong and Citigroup stays still and doesn't move. So what happens was I ended up paying like 27 cents for $70 calls and $65 puts. The total, it cost me $27 per contract in total for that straddle for both sides of the table. $27. So you come to the table and you're like, you know what? I'm going to risk $1,000 on this. You buy 40 of them. So you have 40 $70 calls and you have 40 $65 puts. Now everybody's number is different. Your number could be $100. It doesn't matter. So you're sitting there and you're like, okay, you have a preset risk. What does that mean? The first thing that happens is you no longer have a stop loss. You no longer can get stopped out of your position. Why? Because you're already prepared to lose what you put in. If you tried scalping today, with a lot of these scalps and a lot of the ins and a lot of outs, some of you might have caught it, some of you might have had a lot of trouble. How many of you guys hit stop losses today? That's dangerous. And if you watch our anniversary episode yesterday of the Newsbeat show, which I really recommend you do, it really talks about some of the fallacies on Wall Street and why traders fail. And I'll be able to show you like a year where I'm not throwing in stop losses for over 90% of my trades. Yet, when I was right, I was making on average 18 times more money than when I was wrong. Oh, did I also mention that I had months like that where I'm making money over 90% of the time? That's called a good news flow environment. We're going to get that. It's going to come back. And when it does, this room will be the most valuable thing you've ever had in your trading career if you're into making money on the intraday scale. If you're trying to make money intraday, meaning you come in with zero, you walk out with zero type mentality. I'm not saying you don't have long-term swings and other positions, whatever. But if your goal is to come in and trade the intraday, it's going to be the most phenomenal blessing that will be bestowed upon you. And you guys in the room, besides, you've seen it before. We did it with, if you remember, General Electric. We've done it with so many names. And when the news flows back, we could get dozens and dozens and dozens of these things within a couple months. Like dozens, like 30, 40 of them. Like several dozen, not just like the number 12 or a baker's dozen. And I keep telling you guys, why is that important? Well, it's not just important for the chatter plays and things like that and merger and acquisitions and things like that. It's not just that. When those things are back, the analysts are out. The analysts are out talking. The analysts these past couple weeks have been garbage. The analysts have just been no conviction because they are scared. You have to think psychologically what an analyst is doing. You work for Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch is long every FANG name. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. They're long, all those names. All of a sudden, you're their analyst covering those names. Or let's say you're covering Facebook. I'll just give one example. You're the analyst at Merrill Lynch covering Facebook. They're hiring you. They're paying you a damn good salary. And all of a sudden, Facebook goes into the 190s down to the 150s. What is the first thing they're thinking? Who are they going to point the finger at when they look at their portfolio performance? You, the analyst. So you have to come out and sound intelligent while saving your butt at the same time. So what happens with these analysts, if you actually saw it today, an analyst comes out and drops their target on Facebook to $200, which was previously $230. And that is the infamous I have no conviction, save your butt move. Because by keeping a $200 target, you give room for Facebook to go higher. And by lowering your target, you're also saying, well, Facebook could still drop from here. That's why I'm lowering a target. Earlier in the year, the analysts had a lot more conviction. If you remember, let me remind you, Amazon analysts raising price targets to 1,300 from 1,100 to 1,500 from 1,350 to 1,800 from this number that's lower. And they kept raising it. And what did Amazon do? As all these analysts were raising the estimates, it just rallied and rallied and rallied, right? It just kept rallying. We are going to get that. The market sometimes goes through these lulls where a lot of people who are swinging bullish names long are getting destroyed. Now, I came in this morning. I wasn't crazy about a lot. I was basically saying take it easy. I'm not doing many trades, and that is very important. That is very important to be at least in a community that actually tells you to not push the gas pedal down. I think too many broadcasters out there try different strategies. I was one of them. And I talk about fellow broadcasters because I think it's important that when you're joining a community of traders and you're joining rooms, that you have traders that are coming in and truly understand the market. The funny thing is, there's a direct correlation between news flow and quote unquote easy market trading. There's an opportunity every day. It's easy for me to come to you this morning and say, well, hey guys, how you doing? You should have just, here's an hourly of the Qs. Look, you could have bought, digested a little. That was a buying opportunity. Buy, hold overnight. But that doesn't do anything for you because it's easy to talk about something after the fact that it happens. South Park calls that Captain Hindsight. It's not about Captain Hindsight. It's about catching easier moves with higher probability. The truth is, every single day you're going to have huge moves in a certain name or so, right? Every day. There will be that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names. In this case, it was the entire market. You could have bought almost anything today, held long to the end of the day, make money. So what did I do? I took both sides. I had no idea the market was going up. That's the truth. So what I did here was I went ahead and I bought Citigroup. I bought literally what I discussed this morning. I used Citigroup as a random example for you guys, and this was literally the trade I took after discussing in the pre-market. And I paid 27 cents, and it jumped up, and I was up 50% of my money at the end of the trade, and if I held it, I'd probably be up more tomorrow. I bought $70 calls and $65 puts, and I said the market's likely going to have a big move. I was just as convinced we were going to have a down day today as we were going to have an up day. In the pre-market, of course. In the pre-market, when I was looking at the market this morning, I was just as convinced the market was going to fall as it was going to go up. I had no idea. And, a lot of people, I think, people in communities and whatnot, they'll see that as potential weakness. Oh my God, you don't know where the market was going to go today? In the pre-market? You couldn't tell me? Do you think if there was someone out there who could do that extremely accurately, they'd be probably one of the richest people on the planet by now? The point is, what do you do when you have things are in front of you? So my strategy today was taking a straddle, saying there's going to be a big move in the market. And I have good news for you, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be another opportunity to do exactly what I did today to make money tomorrow, and it's going to be the easiest trade of your life. So what am I going to do tomorrow? I'm going to look for options expiring on Friday. And this is why it's so important to have options. Because if you wanted to do my Citigroup trade, you can't be long 1,000 shares of Citigroup and short 1,000 shares of Citigroup. You can't do that. But with options, you really can. That's the beautiful thing about it. And you could take such a low risk. Such a low risk. Such a low risk. I mean, wow. You know how Ackman made all that money when, what was it, on VRX? Off of, not VRX, I'm sorry, it was Allergan, right? AGN. You know how Ackman made all the money when he was doing this Allergan? Like, remember when Allergan was going through the buyout phase? And he basically, so what Bill Ackman did was he went over to another firm and said, do you want to buy out AGN with us at this price? Do you want to make an offer? The stock was, I'll make the number up, I don't remember if it was $90 or $110 when he did this. He went up to another firm and said, do you want to buy this company out for whatever, $180, $190? He sat down with them and they said, yeah, okay, we'll do it. They signed the paperwork that they were going to propose a joint proposal together. And you know what Ackman did? He started buying options in AGN. Not? He bought some common stock. I'm going to teach you something right now. He bought options. So what Ackman ultimately did was he bought $10 million in options and he bought $150 million in stock. How much money do you think Bill Ackman made on his $10 million worth of options? And how much money do you think Bill Ackman made on his $150 million worth of stock? Now, of course, there are many estimates out there, but every estimate agrees on one thing. The difference was staggering. On the $150 million worth of AGN, and he bought it, and then after he was long all of this, then he came out with the proposal, and the stock shot up. And he settled for X amount of money, and he was a billionaire overnight. The best move of his life. That was the best financial move of Bill Ackman's life. Sneaky, huh? He did it pretty legally, which is shows you the holes in the United States financial system. But what is the point I'm making here? On $150 million worth of stock, he made about $100 million, give or take. Some people say it's 90, some people say it's 105. I don't have the exact filing in front of me. He made about we're rounding off here. He made about $100 million on his $150 million worth of stock. Not bad. Not bad at all. Right? And he was obviously driving the stock up as he did it. You know how much money Ackman made on those options? On $10 million worth of options? You know how much money he made? Several billion dollars. Several billion dollars. In 2015, I made well over $1 million trading options. My average position size was $20,000 worth of options. My average position size was $20,000 worth of options. I turned $50,000, well over $1 million in 2015, trying options. 2016, made well over $1 million again. Average position size $30,000, $1.6 million. 2017, over $1 million again, $30,000 average position size. 2018, I'm not up that much money with options yet, but do you understand the power of news flow and options, ladies and gentlemen? When we called, like, for example, that General Electric play the other day, when we called the General Electric play, when did we catch a? Was it right over here? Was it, where was that? This was the day, right? Yeah, here it is. On March 27th, we called General Electric long in the $13 range. Do you realize that you ready for this? $13.50 calls that day that went from 1 cent to 35 cents? Do you know what that means? From something to go from 1 cent in value to 35 cents in value? Do you understand the power of that? No, I didn't catch that one. I made good money on it. I bought $13 calls. Bought some shares. Very light. I didn't take it heavy. I did very well though. But I'm just explaining to you potential opportunity. And why am I talking about potential opportunity? Well, if you took a 1 cent option and you put a couple grand at it, you threw a couple grand at it, that $2,000 was worth $70,000 at one point in the trade. And we're talking in a matter of less than an hour. We're not talking, I bought this 5 years ago and I held it. We're talking intraday, right? Now, why is that important? Why am I telling you this? Well, it's easy to be Captain Hindsight and tell you what your options could have done. It's very easy to do that. The difference with General Electric was I was telling you guys on the radio in real time why I was buying it, and that I thought it was obviously going to head higher if I was buying it at that exact moment right before it exploded. That is the power of news flow. That is the power of good information. Bill Ackman, why did he make that money on Allergan? He created the good information. He went up to another firm and said, let's buy out these guys. They signed contracts to do it. They're ready. They're getting ready. They're going to set up to disclose it in a week or a month or whatever their time frame was. And in the meantime, he bought the living you-know-what out of it. Kind of slick, huh? News flow is the most powerful tool on Wall Street by far, bar none. Nothing remotely comes close to financial gain as news traders. News traders make more money than technical traders. The top 10 news traders make more money than the top 10,000 technical traders every day of the week. Now, why is this important to tell you? Well, how do I become a news trader? Well, that's the screwed up part about Wall Street. That's the real screwed up part about Wall Street. Because on Wall Street, to become a news trader, I mean, you have access to news. You could do your fundamental analysis. You could read up on companies. You can invest in them. And you can make good decisions. And you can make a lot of money doing that. But it's the timing of the news flow which is paramount. Because algorithms, black boxes, they're tracking this news flow in real time. They're watching, Bloomberg, CNBC, all these television networks, black boxes are transmitting the voice into words and translating those words to do buy or sell signals. You have to realize how complex these robots have gotten. It's like artificial intelligence. And they'll react quicker than you can any and every day of the week. So how do you get access? It delves into a really, really deep field where it's almost like this chosen few elite. Like I would say, in terms of top news traders out there, I would say there's less than 100 of them. And these traders are responsible for almost every single news release headline you get on your thing. I'm not saying if the CEO of Boeing, decides to launder money and steal money from the company and you see it on a news headline, I'm not saying that trader made that up. I'm saying that trader was responsible for you being able to see it in the time-like fashion that you have. And that trader is already shorting Boeing before that news headline hits your screen. You ever see a good news headline? Something positive? What happens when you type in the symbol? You see this big green bar? Now the question is, how badly do you want to be that person buying at the bottom of that green bar? How important is that to you? That is the power of news flow. And that is why we created the Newsbeat Live service here, to get you that. In this current environment, not a lot of news flow. Not a lot. It comes up. Yeah, I can just short of guarantee you now there might be 20 ideas that make well over 60-70% of my money this year. I could probably sum it up to 20 ideas. Really. And there are days where you need to hit the gas pedal, and there are days you need to slow down. And because I have my ear to the street, and because I know what these news guys are doing, and because I know what these desk traders are doing, and because I know what they're talking about, I will always know if it's going to be an easy or hard trading day. Before I got involved in this world, I never knew. I came in. Every day was like any other. How did I know trading was going to suck today? It's not like somebody sends you an email and says, "Warning, John Doe. Warning, John Smith. Warning, trading is going to suck today. It's going to be good tomorrow, so go crazy then. But today it's going to suck." Nobody tells you that. And every trading day is created differently. You know how you average 500? It's so funny. Traders come to me and they're like, "What do you want to do? What is your goal?" And they're like, "Well, I would love to average, $500 a day. That's $120,000 a year. 2,500 a week. 4 weeks, that's $10,000 a month. 12 months, that's $120,000 a year. And they just want to average $500 a day." You know what the first thing I say to them is? You're going to have a day where you make $12,000 or more. You need a day where you make 10% of that money or more. Otherwise, you will never, ever achieve it. And they look at me like I'm crazy. How do I do that without slapping on all this risk? How do I do it without risking my whole account on that one moment? What if I'm wrong? Options, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. That is how you do it. Options. So what I did today in Citigroup, I was able to somehow miraculously make money on a day that grinded up that looked absolutely insane. Was I didn't just buy and hold. And a lot of traders did buy and hold, but you know how many of those traders got destroyed in the past 2 weeks who were buying and holding? The question isn't, oh, there are those traders out there who made money going long today and they held and they really did well. And they did very well. The question is, how many days in the past week and a half have those traders also been going long and holding? And how much money did they lose on that on those days? The point is, in every market condition, there's a time to be intelligent, there's a time to be stupid. For me, not my forte to see a day like today go up. Not my forte to see a market getting destroyed, followed by this random big up move. Oh, believe me, I was the person calling the bottom of the spiders on April 2nd. We did it in real time. I started buying the spider calls when it was in the 254.80 range. The day low, 254.67. We called it in the pre-market. Yeah, I can buy the bottom. But day like today, I couldn't read. And I'll admit that, and I'm proud to admit that. I could look at it and say, oh my God, I have no idea what's going to happen today. That was my take. I had no idea. So I looked at Citigroup, and in the morning, I bought a straddle, and I'm like, even telling you guys, I'm just going to sit back. I really don't care what this thing does. Worst case, it's going to go to zero. Best case is something like this happens today where it grinds up and you make money, right? Please learn options. Now, I'm not saying I only trade options. I don't. I do stock when there are certain market conditions where trading stock is the best thing, especially in market conditions going sideways. That's where trading stock is the best because a lot of the options bleed what's called time value. And there's so many free things online to learn options. And in fact, I'm going to teach you how to trade options the way I do it. And I do it pretty successfully. You know, I'm not making 10 million a year, not yet. But I do it pretty successfully. And I'm going to teach you guys how I trade options. The truth is, I trade options like I trade stock. I just see a bid and an offer and I buy, and if the stock goes up, I make money. If it goes down, I lose money, generally speaking. And I'm going to teach you all that in my course. And I'm going to teach you everything. This course is going to be the most inclusive thing that you have ever seen in your entire life. T3 didn't even start marketing yet. They're probably going to start on Wednesday. However, if you want a guaranteed live spot, you could sign up now. It's like you also get a founder's fee for signing up for this course through my link. It's like $495. It's normally like $1,000. So I have the ability to really it's going to be my masterpiece. It's going to be the greatest training course ever designed. I know that sounds cocky, but the truth is I've culminated 12 years of information before putting this thing together, and I'm still in the process of putting it together, and it's going beautifully. So I want to talk to you about a little something too about the market, and I like to call it the disorganized brain. And what happens is there are symptoms which are really common among aspiring traders and are made much worse by aversive conditioning and random rewards. If you've been trading for several years and you feel as though you have become your own worst enemy, then what I'm telling you now might be one of the most important things that you're going to hear. Successful trading requires the ability to really execute a plan in a methodical, consistent manner. You want to know who I have found are the best traders in the world? Who do you think? I mean, I've I've met, I've mentored, I've trained, I've tens of thousands of traders. Who are the most consistent traders I've ever found? Anyone want to guess what kind of prior profession poker players you think, Jimmy? Women. It's true. Women are better traders on average than men. Kathy got it. Those that drink. No, it's not only ice mocha, Kathy. It has to be ice mocha from McDonald's, and those are yogis. They would probably be they would probably be good as well. The best traders in the world I have found. Yes, women are better traders than men on average, but it's pilots, people who fly airplanes, because they respect rules and don't make procedural errors ever. When you're in a plane and your life is on the line, you're not trying something new. What happens if I go down through that wind drift and spin the plane around? That's not what they think. Maybe unless you watch the movies. Pilots are the best traders because they don't make procedural errors. They don't make up new rules, and they don't make up new destinations on the fly. If you're a trader who has difficulty formulating or consistently following your own trading rules, even when you want to, you may have the symptoms of what I call a disorganized brain. It impairs your ability to organize, plan, and execute your ideas, particularly when under stress. In this state, you become your own worst enemy. This disorganized brain actually looks different in adults than it does in children, and it runs on a continuum from mild to severe on different spectrums. So you can have it and not even know about it. I know I did. I know I had it and I didn't know about it. So I'll be the first to admit that I suffered from this. Having the proper risk profiles, having the proper strategies, having the proper handling is what's going to allow you to conquer yourself. You want to see the person who cares more about you in your trading account than anyone else in the world? Go look in the mirror. For men in particular, I have realized that the symptoms of this often get worse after the age of 40 because your testosterone levels naturally decline and certain parts of your brain are literally zapping differently. To trade successfully, you need to reduce the symptoms of this to minimum levels. I am going to show you how to reduce this plague that's in your mind. That's one of the things I'm addressing in my course. Just one of the things. I am going over everything from technical analysis to forming a game plan to your diet to rewiring your brain. Last interesting thing, I trained a Harvard graduate on how to day trade. His father owns a firm. His father does long-term trades. He wanted to be a day trader on intraday. Couldn't make it. Harvard Law School grad. Very intelligent guy. Actually, semi-famous. I don't want to drop his name. But he's a Harvard Law grad, and he wanted to do trading. He wanted to do trading on the intraday level. And it was kind of nuts. So what I did was he wanted everything to him, by the way, was scientific. He's the type of person who you say, if you believe something, if you have this gut feeling and you don't know how to describe it, it means something scientifically is happening that you cannot describe. I actually happen to agree with him. I think there's so much more in science. We keep learning science on such an exponential curve that it's kind of funny that science is often learned by unproven theories being proven. That's how we advance in science. It's not because, Eureka, I've done it, I figured it out. It's not like that. So what we did was, I mentored the dude. He's a multimillionaire today. From making his own money. His father was also a multimillionaire. And what he did was he actually went and he took a brain scan. He literally did a brain scan and the EKG thing, and they were seeing the electrical impulses in his head, and he did a full scan. And then what I did was I trained him for a month. I changed his diet. I taught him how to get rid of what I felt was the baggage in his head. And 1 month later, he took the same scan, and different parts of his brain were actually open. We actually looked, it's almost like a heat map of the brain. It's almost like a heat map of the brain, but it shows where a lot of electrical pulses is the best word probably for it, are happening in the brain. And the first scan, and it showed like a topography of his brain. About 45% of it was like moving, and the rest was gray area. I gave him a food, a diet. I recommended a food to him that literally produces and increases blood flow to what's called the gray matter of your brain. I literally gave him a food that has been scientifically proven to increase blood flow to the gray matter of his brain. Changed his diet a little, and by change his diet, he loves his beer. He loves his beer. He drinks his beer. He has his burger and fries, which is not good for him. But he just added food. He's like, I'll have no problem adding the food. It's hard for a lot of people to just change their diets completely. I get that. We all do what we can, right? And literally, when he took this scan again, about 85% of his brain was active. And all of a sudden, he coincidentally became a successful trader. Phenomenal, right? I am going to be shedding this knowledge upon you. I'll be sharing with you. You don't have to do these very expensive EKG scans. You can, and you'll see the same results that he did. But I'm actually going to show you the types of nutrition that you could put in your body, the correct supplementation to put in your body to supplement your brain with the things it needs to become a successful trader. I know it sounds nuts. Your diet might be one of the main things stopping you. And it's not because you're eating bad. I don't want to say it has nothing to do with eating bad, because certain foods are very bad for you and your brain. But it usually ends up being that you're not eating the right things that you would normally not think about. So it's more what you're not eating as opposed to what you are eating. So I know you guys enjoyed the Health Beat show. There's going to be a lot more of that within the course. We're going to talk about a myriad of foods that can really get your brain going to that next level. It's as I put it eloquently, it's a course that I would pay $10,000 for. That's the point. That's the point of the course. It's a full, inclusive course that teaches you everything you need to know about how to make money today in the market. And there's no shortcuts around there. It's my life's work. It's 12 years of work that I've been culminating information from, and it's finally going to be put down in a very nice manner, and I've been working so many hours every day to do it. So I am going to have a positive change on your life. You have to survive with me to the end of April. That's when the course is going to be offered at the end of this month. You have to survive with me until then. And when it comes to this market and making money, believe me, when I tell you certain markets, when it's time to push the gas pedal and there's certain times to not push the gas pedal, believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I'll almost always be right on that. So with that being said, that was a nice way to talk about the market. Where are we going? Are we done to pop or not? The truth is, I don't know. I think we could. I'm still not convinced we're going to move up tomorrow, even though we're gapped up right now. Even though the Qs are gapped up 65 cents, we might gap up $1 or more tomorrow. I'm still not convinced that we're going to have an update tomorrow. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the market for what it is. Game plan in Forex, very simple. Just a simple little name here. Resonant Semiconductor, little semiconductor name that elevated in volume and broke out. I'm looking for a breakout follow through from $3.83 here, and you could just see stock has been a bit beaten up, putting in a massive amount of volume. Last time it put in volume like this, the stock closed at 580, and within a week and a half, the stock ran to 806. So we'll see. Looking for a bullish breakout of 383, just very simple name. Forex. Let's see. Forex, I do have a couple trades for you guys. It did well on the last trade, the open trade. And here are my live Forex orders. Screenshot directly from my live account. Orders, buys, size, standard lots, symbol pairing that I'm trading, where I place my bids in this case, where I place my bids in this case, where the stop loss is, where the take profit is. So, yeah, if you wish to screenshot it, you could go ahead and do so now. And get to copy or paper trade or whatever you want to do with my information, you're more than welcome to. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to our full stock analysis. That is for members of the Newsbeat Live Room only. If you are interested in signing up for the Newsbeat Live Room, I think there's a $7 1-month trial for brand new people. There's also a link to the course if you guys want to be part of what I think is going to be the most revolutionary course in the industry. You want to know something funny about trading courses? There's so many of them out there, and none of them are new. A lot of them are 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old, and none of them are teaching you how to make money in the here and now. This course is not even done, and I'm building it for the end of the month. I got everything together. This is showing you how to make money today, and that is one of the most important things to stay up to date with how the market evolved. Ladies and gentlemen, the Newsbeat Live Room is the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.